Hello again, YouTube land. Today is what I refer to as baking day, which, sorry, I'm still fascinated by how long my hair has gotten. Baking day is the day before the significant holiday for which one normally bakes. In some families, there's a baking day before birthdays. In some families, there's a baking day before Thanksgiving. In some families, there's a baking day before Christmas, and in my experience, in the Jewish households I've been in during the time of Hanukkah, most days there's some sort of baking going on. Today, then, is my baking day, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and this is the first year we will not be having Thanksgiving at the grandparents' house, because the grandparents have decided it is time to pass the torch. This is fine. I don't know whose house it will officially be at from here forward. I just know where it's going to be this year. And honestly, I'm not even positive about whose house it is, just what town I'm going to. The grandparents live in the city. The new house is not in New York City. It's in New York. It's Chappaqua. So, bit of a trip, but it's okay. Baking day. I love baking day for a couple of reasons. 1, I like to cook. 2, I like to feed people. 3, I really like having the opportunity and excuse, quite frankly, to try new recipes. Earlier this week, I tried a recipe from Food Network. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Alex Gushinelli? I don't know. For Parker House rolls. And they were good. They're certainly perfectly fine, taking into account my not hugely experienced bread making skills. But they weren't quite what I had hoped. Traditionally speaking, and I don't know if it's because of any one particular reason, I tend to do better with the Alton Brown recipes, which is why I already have several Good Eats episodes on DVD and 2 of the 3 books he published. The early years and the middle years for Good Eats. I don't have the later years yet, but hopefully soon. So today, I am trying his Parker House Rolls recipe, which on the Food Network website, I don't know how familiar you are with it. If you look at it, it rates, beginner, intermediate, easy, advanced, difficult, that kind of thing. These were listed as difficult, and I kind of don't get why. I mean, all the information is right there. If you know how to do mise en place, it's really not that difficult. And, you follow the times involved. The only problem I had is that I think with this first batch, it's quite possible I didn't warm the milk enough when I was making the initial dough with the yeast and everything, because it didn't look to me like it doubled at all after proofing for an hour. It's a very luxuriant texture of a dough, so I don't think I did anything terribly, terribly wrong. It's perfectly usable and workable dough. I'm just not as confident as I would have been if it was more obvious that it had doubled during the first proof. Right now, it is going through the second proofing, because it's already been rolled out, formed, portioned, blah, blah, blah. But in general, this recipe did not look that difficult to me. It takes a little bit of time because you have to do the dough after you measure out the ingredients, so that's like 20 minutes, and then you have to let it sit for an hour, then you have to portion it and all that, and then it has to sit for another 30 to 40 minutes, and then you have to bake it and let it cool. So, all in, it's probably upwards of 2.5 hours. But for a bread, that's really not bad. The one I'm most familiar with making bread-wise is a challah recipe, and that takes significantly more ingredients and a good deal more time, in my experience. Again, not the most expert baker, but I don't think I'm that far off from reality. The other thing is that I'm going to be making my oatmeal cookies with dark chocolate chips. Now, the recipes I use are recipes I've gotten from other well-known chefs. You know, I use the recipe on the back of the Nestle Toll House package. I use the recipe on the inside of the Quaker Oats lid. But like all cooking, it's adaptive to a point. So my oatmeal cookies don't always have raisins. They tend to have a bit more vanilla, possibly more cinnamon. You know, some recipes are just basic fundamentals like pound cake. There's really no way to tamper with a pound cake recipe. It's just, you know, throw it all in, mix it to hell, pour it in a pan, and bake. So I adapt as I can. And so far, I've been told my efforts at adaptation, especially with desserts, which seem to be a knack of mine, aging fat lady, have been positive because people tell me they like them, which is good. So today is baking day. The other thing I like about baking day this year is we have cable again, which means I can turn on, yes, I'm dating myself, I can turn on VH1 Classic Totally 80s and be the fruitcake that I am. Which, yeah, okay, it's kind of a holiday joke, fruitcake, blah, blah, blah. I still haven't tried that recipe. I should try making fruitcake someday. But yeah, you know, and I get to just put my hair back, turn on the classic VH1 Totally 80s, get into some comfortable pajama-style clothes, because if I'm spending the whole day baking, ain't nobody gonna see me but myself, and anyone dumb enough to look through my window when the curtain's open, and just relax and cook and enjoy my day. This is part of the reason I don't work in restaurants, I think, in a baking respect. I like to cook, I like to bake, I like to learn new things, and I am, in truth, a natural early riser. But I can't be on my feet for protracted periods of time. Physically, I can't. If I could, I would be. I would walk more. I would get an on-my-feet retail food industry job that would train me in something, etc., etc., etc. But I have a narrowing at the C4-5 and at the lower lumbar. Add to that the arthritis in both of my knees, the plantar fasciitis in both of my feet, and the pinched nerve in the back of my neck. It's a miracle I walk at all Sundays. So baking day at home is great because in the time things take to, you know, proof and mix and blah, 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 those prolonged, you know, 10, 20, 30-minute periods or more where you can walk away, I'm out of the kitchen, I sit down on my couch. I clear stuff off my DVR. That's what I'm doing today. It's good. It's good. Baking days, surprisingly enough, I don't really eat too much. I kind of have to force myself to remember to have lunch and dinner and stuff because I'm focused on what I'm doing. And it's not that I have horrible tunnel vision or I get incredibly myopic. It's just, when it comes to baking, you really have to focus. I mean, it is an issue of being precise. It is an issue of timing. And my natural ADHD, as much as I love and have the ability to multitask, when I'm baking is one of the very, very few times that's not pertinent or relevant. So I just relax in between steps. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go back to my coffee. Perhaps have my croissant that I got from downstairs at the bakery that I live across the street from. Well, it's not a bakery. It's a bagel place that has some baked goods that I'm confident they don't really 100% make themselves. But wherever they get them from, they're tasty. So I'm going to have my croissant and the rest of my hazelnut iced coffee. Yum, yum. Relax. I may have to put the heating pad on my back. I'm starting to feel it cramping up. But the final proofing is going on the first batch of rolls for tomorrow. And then I will be, I don't know, I'm debating. I'm going to make the second rolls this afternoon, or I'm going to make the cookies next, so I have time to see if I like the way the rolls came out. Or I'm going to see if I like the way the rolls came out, make the second batch this afternoon, and then since I'll be up 5, 6 in the morning like I usually am, and we're not leaving for Thanksgiving until about noonish, I'll have plenty of time to make the cookies in the morning. So, we shall see. But yes, I seem relatively comfortable and relaxed because I really do like baking day. So I hope you guys are having a good holiday week and get to enjoy the food and people you find most relaxing on Thanksgiving. Oh, and in case anybody's wondering, everyone's answering, "What are you thankful for?" all over social media. Okay, if you want to know what I'm thankful for, I am thankful that I have Sam, for a list of reasons too long to include in an already long podcast. I am thankful for our cat Tribble, also a list too long to go into a long podcast. I suppose I'm thankful for most of my family, although my memory runs long and deep, and there are reasons. Let's just leave it at that. And I'm thankful to be in a more stable situation than my time before Sam was. Because it's not the easiest thing growing up thinking that within an hour, any given day, you're no longer going to be sheltered or fed or, quite frankly, loved or potentially alive. Which sounds drastic, but if you knew my childhood, it's really not inaccurate. So, like every Thanksgiving, if anyone asks me, I'm going to say, what am I thankful for today? I'm not dead yet, and I haven't killed anyone. See, you laugh, but the truth is I say that every Thanksgiving. Ask my parents. Alright, so that's it for my rambling for today. I will post again the next time I have the opportunity. The first weekend of December, my parents are visiting, and we're all going to a concert together, so I don't know how busy I'll be between now and then. But happy holiday season, and please make sure you don't injure anyone on Black Friday.